Daenerys. Shocking death in Game of Thrones Season 8. The final season of Game of Thrones brought some of the most shocking moments in television history, but none were as devastating, controversial, or emotionally charged as the death of Daenerys Targaryen. For 8 seasons, fans watched the rise of the Mother of Dragons, the last surviving Targaryen, determined to reclaim her family's throne, free the oppressed, and create a new world. She inspired loyalty, fear, and admiration, but in the climactic finale, Daenerys' life was cut short by the very man she loved, Jon Snow. Her death left audiences in disbelief. How could a character who had overcome slavery, assassins, and wars, who had survived betrayal and countless threats, meet such a tragic end at the hands of someone who loved her? Why did Jon Snow, the hero of the North, stab her in the throne room of the Red Keep? And what does Daenerys' death reveal about the themes of power, morality, and destiny in Game of Thrones? To fully understand the shocking turn of events, we need to explore Daenerys' character arc, her transformation throughout the series, the factors leading up to her demise, and the narrative purpose of her death. Her end is not simply a plot twist, it is the culmination of years of storytelling about ambition, identity, and the corrupting nature of power. Daenerys' journey, from survivor to conqueror. Daenerys Targaryen's story begins in exile. She is introduced as the last known Targaryen, living in the shadow of her father's overthrown dynasty. At first, she is timid, uncertain, and vulnerable, but her journey across the narrow sea transforms her into a determined leader. Her early victories in Essos, liberating slaves in Astapor, Yunkai, and Meereen, establish her as a champion of the oppressed. She earns loyalty not just through her bloodline, but through her actions, demonstrating that she is both just and capable. These early triumphs also set the stage for the darker elements of her character. Daenerys comes to understand that ruling requires more than ideals, it requires ruthlessness. Her decision to crucify the masters of Meereen, while morally complex, shows that she is willing to use fear as a tool to enforce justice. From the beginning, Daenerys is walking a tightrope between mercy and tyranny, and her story carefully foreshadows the potential for her descent. The weight of destiny and prophecy. Throughout the series, Daenerys is framed as a figure of destiny. The legend of the Targaryens, the prophecy of the prince that was promised, and visions of fire and blood all suggest she is meant to reclaim Westeros and change the world. These elements create a sense that Daenerys' journey is larger than herself. Her identity is tied to history, magic, and prophecy. Yet prophecy in Game of Thrones is always ambiguous. Characters like Melisandre, the Red Priests, and even visions in the House of the Undying offer guidance but never certainty. This ambiguity leaves Daenerys in a constant struggle between her ideals and the reality of power. While she believes in her destiny as a liberator and ruler, the series carefully explores how ambition and the desire to fulfill prophecy can cloud judgment, sowing the seeds for her eventual downfall. Power and isolation. By the time Daenerys reaches Westeros, she has conquered armies, freed thousands of slaves, and earned the loyalty of dragons and advisors alike. However, her arrival in the Seven Kingdoms also brings challenges she has never faced. Westeros is a world of intrigue, history, and deeply entrenched political rivalries, far more complex than the cities of Essos. This transition marks a turning point in Daenerys' character. She is no longer the liberator of the oppressed, she is a claimant to a throne with centuries of entrenched power struggles. Her allies are cautious, her enemies are relentless, and every decision carries immense consequence. Slowly, the isolation she experiences begins to take a toll. By the time she lays siege to King's Landing, Daenerys is surrounded by advisors who doubt her choices, allies who question her restraint, and enemies who refuse to submit. Her sense of destiny, combined with mounting pressure and the memory of her family's fall, begins to push her toward drastic measures. The Siege of King's Landing. The events leading directly to Daenerys' death occur during the Siege of King's Landing. Throughout this arc, the series carefully illustrates her transformation from a measured leader to someone increasingly willing to use violence to achieve her goals. In the battle itself, the city refuses to surrender. Civilians hide in fear, the population does not recognize her as a liberator, and Cersei Lannister refuses to negotiate. Daenerys faces a moral dilemma. She can attack, risking countless innocent lives, or retreat and let her claim go unfulfilled. Her choice to burn King's Landing with dragonfire marks the turning point. This act is shocking because it diverges sharply from the mercy she showed in Essos. But it is consistent with the narrative arc built over 7 seasons. The pressures of destiny, isolation, and the belief that she is the only one capable of shaping a new world drive her to extreme action. It is a tragic convergence of idealism and hubris. By choosing fire over mercy, Daenerys transforms into a figure who embodies both liberation and terror. She believes she is creating a better world, but her methods reveal the danger of unchecked power. Jon Snow's perspective. Jon Snow's decision to kill Daenerys is rooted in love, duty, and fear. From the beginning, Jon is portrayed as honorable and loyal, guided by a strong moral compass. However, the events of Season 8 test these values to the extreme. Jon loves Daenerys, but he witnesses the destruction of King's Landing and realizes that she may not stop with Cersei. He fears that her vision of a liberated world could become a world ruled by fire and blood. Jon understands that killing Daenerys may be the only way to prevent further mass casualties. His act is not impulsive, it is the result of internal conflict, balancing personal desire with moral responsibility. By killing Daenerys, Jon embodies the tragedy of Game of Thrones. Even heroes are forced to make impossible decisions, sacrificing personal happiness to protect the greater good. Thematic significance. Daenerys' death carries immense thematic weight. The series consistently explores the corrupting influence of power, the cost of ambition, and the dangers of idealism untempered by realism. Throughout her journey, Daenerys is depicted as a figure of both inspiration and caution. She can save lives, but she can also destroy them. Her death illustrates the central lesson of Game of Thrones. In a world where power is coveted and unchecked, even the most well-intentioned leaders can become tyrants. Daenerys' descent into violence is a stark reminder that history repeats itself, and that the pursuit of justice and freedom is fraught with moral ambiguity. It also emphasizes the human cost of war. Daenerys sought to liberate the oppressed, but her actions in King's Landing show how idealism can clash with the messy reality of governance and the value of individual lives. Her death is both personal and political. It resolves the immediate threat she poses and serves as a cautionary tale for the world she hoped to reshape. Symbolism and narrative closure. Daenerys' death is rich in symbolism. The Iron Throne, the ultimate symbol of power in Westeros, is central to the moment. Daenerys sits upon it, dreaming of a world remade in her vision, while Jon delivers the fatal blow. The scene represents the collision of love, loyalty, morality, and destiny. The act of killing Daenerys also symbolizes the rejection of tyranny, even when it is cloaked in the guise of liberation. Jon's decision reflects the series' ongoing theme, that power must be checked, that absolute authority, even with the best intentions, leads to destruction. Her death allows for a narrative shift. With Daenerys gone, the cycle of violence begins to change. Bran Stark becomes king, Sansa rules the North independently, and Jon returns to the Night's Watch. The story moves toward a fragile hope, a chance to rebuild from the devastation she unleashed. Fan reactions and controversy. Unsurprisingly, Daenerys' death sparked